Hi, thank you so much for joining me back on my channel. This evening time, I just want to talk to you about one profound topic, which is the logic of God. Have you ever wondered, looking at the questions that is circling around your head, to think how God really works and what does it fathom to actually fall under His grace? So these kind of questions are so profound. Not just you and I, but then many people out there actually run and wrestle through these kind of questions. And when I feel to you this subject this evening time, I want to bring to your attention about the life of Jacob and how the logic of God worked in the life of Jacob. If you look at the story, how it actually shapes and funnels down, we see that Jacob goes ahead and deceives his father, gets his blessings from him, disguises himself as his brother Esau, and then starts running for his life. Then I'm going to give you three logics from this story as we run and see how Jacob's life was shaped and how he actually went from the presence of man to the presence of God. First mistake that we see in Jacob's life is this: from the face of man he runs to the face of God. And this is what exactly happens. He goes and disguises himself as Esau and goes to his father and takes the blessings from his father and starts running. So he leaves his father's face and only to meet the face of God. And the logic of God works this way: when even before Jacob was formed in his mother's womb, God designed a plan for him. God said that he would actually rule the place that he's going to live there. And God also mentioned to his mother Rebekah, saying that the older shall serve the younger, which means Jacob's life was so sad that he found favor in the eyes of God. But still Jacob wanted to seek the man's face before running into the presence of God. So the first mistake you see that Jacob ran towards man, thinking that man, being the measure of all things, provides blessings, and from there his life will be a prosperity on the face of earth. And while he takes his blessings, the immediate consequence of it is to run for his life. So he lives from the face of man only to encounter his face at the God's presence during the time when he's getting back to the promised land at Peniel. And the second comment that I want to make over here is about the blessings of man to the blessings of God. He runs to his father, takes his blessings, and starts running for his life. All his life he has been running, and the consequence and aftermath of it is to stay away from his family for altogether a good 20 years. 20 odd years he didn't get to live in his homeland, but had to run away for his life and live somewhere where he lived as a sojourner, whose life was longing for his home. That is what happens when you start seeking the blessings of man. But his life took a drastic turn. The story took a dramatic turn when he actually encounters the blessings of God at Bethel, where he stands there and God tells him that I'm going to bless you, and I'm going to give you everything that you see. I'm going to give you everything around you as an inheritance to you. And then that's when Jacob actually kind of believes that it's not the blessings of man that matters most in your life, but the blessings of God. And when he wrestles with him while getting back to the land of his fathers at the cliff, when he crosses beyond the river and then goes on to meet his brother, the night before that he wrestles with God at Peniel. He wrestles so long that he starts seeking the blessings of God. By then the whole 20 years have been left behind, but Jacob realizes that it is the blessings of God that makes his life more prominent, more graceful. So he runs from the blessings of man only to encounter the blessings of God. And when God blesses him, when he wrestles with God, angel of God, and God blesses him, his life becomes more meaningful. And from there you see the final comment that I want to give you, the logic how it works. His identity is being changed. You see, from the face of man to the face of God, from the blessings of man to the blessings of God. And the final comment is this: from Jacob, his name is being changed to Israel. So this is how the logic of God works. If you want God to work in your lifestyle, you need to very well understand that you need to seek His presence, then man's presence. You need to seek His blessings, then man's blessings. And when you seek His presence and His blessings, your identity will be changed. And when Jacob finally finds God's favor on him, God's presence on him, and God's embracing grace on him, he understands that his name was changed from Jacob to Israel. And from there, if you look at the story to fast forward to the future, his life was so meaningful that his legacy was carried out to his children as well. And then if you look at the way that it is written in the whole of a Bible's perspective, you see that God's being addressed as the father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that is how God favored people, and that is how God actually picked Jacob even before the foundations of the earth and designed a plan for him. And I want to finally close with this comment when I say when you start running for the blessings of man, you forget that there's the blessings of God that's waiting for you. When you start running to the face of man for some problem, you forget that the face of God is already waiting there for you. And when you start running towards the identity of man, you lose your own identity in the presence of God. And as I close this evening time, I want to tell you something. Start running from the face of man to the face of God to seek His blessings eternally. And finally, when you do that, your identity identity will be changed. And that's how the logic of God works. And you will be embracing Him for the rest of the life, where He'll prosper you not only on the face of the earth, not only physically, but also spiritually. Thank you so much for giving me this hearing. God bless you all.